Hey guys, what's going on? Zeromata here with the Metro Conflict gameplay and commentary. We're playing the mercenary Chris on the map Street Market. Got some really awesome shotgun gameplay for you guys, so hopefully you guys enjoy that. But the whole purpose of this video is going to give you a basic set of tips and tricks to kind of improve your gameplay in Metro Conflict. So obviously Metro Conflict's a first-person shooter, so if you've played any of the previous FPS games like Call of Duty, CSGO, Soldier Front 2, Ava, any other free-to-play first-person shooter game, those general skills and those game sense type tactics and knowledge, all that stuff, that transfers over to Metro Conflict pretty easily. So using the mini-map, your positioning on the map, learning to compensate for recoil, and so on and so forth, all that stuff transfers over pretty easily. So all the general game sense, game knowledge for first-person shooters is kind of a given. But this video more or less is going to be about the distinctive tips and tricks for Metro Conflict specifically. So for instance, my first tip would be know your class's strengths, weaknesses, and skills. You want to make sure that you know exactly what your class can and can't do, because each class has their own specific playstyle, and that playstyle can either complement or make them really not the best choice for whatever map you're playing. And that's something you want to be cognizant of. So for instance, we're playing Chris right now on Street Market. Street Market, if you look at the gameplay, has a lot of tight-knit corners, a lot of sharp angles, and a lot of the skirmishes kind of just happen suddenly. And that's perfect for Chris because Chris is obviously a shotgun user. He has the scanner ability, which basically gives you like a short-range wall hack for like 20... It's like a 20-second cooldown, and you have it for about a couple seconds, so you can basically see everyone around your proximity for a short distance or in a short amount of time. So all that stuff kind of lends hand in hand to playing Chris on CQC type maps. And that's kind of an example of exactly how you want to predict and play your class based on the map. So you wouldn't want to play something like... You do see a lot of snipers on Street Market, but you probably want to stick to something like Anna or Chris, who can really excel in the close range combat type scenarios on a map that's filled with it. So that's kind of an example of learning your class's limitations and strengths and weaknesses. Another thing to kind of learn about and to kind of be cognizant of is to utilize other class weapons. So you're obviously restricted to a set of weapons and playstyle based upon your class. Chris can use shotguns. Striker is more of an assault type class who can use like an M4, AK, SCAR. Similar to LT Gray. Big Daddy is kind of a minigun user. So you have the ability in Metro Conflict to pick up other players' weapons. So that can make for some pretty cool combinations for players and other classes' weapons and their skills. Like for instance, if you have like an Anna with her sprint skill and with the Big Daddy's minigun, that can be kind of unexpected, and you can kind of throw people off with that. So kind of experiment with different weapon combinations and try to throw people off, because people will see you coming. Oh, it's an Anna, she's probably CQC, or it's Chris, he's probably CQC, and you pull like a sniper or you pull an assault rifle, and that can just throw people off pretty easily. So that's something to also be aware of. Another tip would be hipfire. Literally, this game is hipfire exclusive. I mean, you really, unless you're obviously sniping, you don't really want to aim down sight if you have a scope on your weapon. There can be some exceptions when it's like a ridiculous long distance to your enemy, but the maps are pretty CQC oriented. They're very forgiving in terms of their recoil patterns and how the weapons behave when you hip fire, and you should take full advantage of that when you're playing. Another tip is to learn the maps and utilize wall running. Play the map based upon whatever playstyle you think would suit you. And that's kind of going back to the kind of knowing your class's strengths and weaknesses. But all the maps definitely have their own shortcuts and kind of areas that can kind of throw people off. All the maps have the ability for you to actually wall run or jump upon buildings and stuff like that, and that can kind of present an unexpected sequence of events for your enemies to kind of see someone running at a corner or running up a wall that they never thought can be accessible. So stuff like that, kind of learning the shortcuts, the ins and outs of maps, and kind of learning where the common choke points are and where people usually like to attack on maps, that really does help you a lot, because you can kind of avoid the kill zones. You can avoid kind of the deaths that you can really avoid at most times by kind of avoiding the common nade spots or avoiding places where snipers like to usually peek and kind of put their crosshairs or the scopes around. So stuff like that can really help eliminate your deaths and can also increase the frequency and the amount of kills that you can get on maps. So another tip would be to know your enemy's composition as well. So kind of more or less you're playing 8v8 CQC type matches in TDM or Demolition or whatever. Definitely take a look at not only your team's composition but your enemy team's composition. So if you see like your enemy team has a bunch of Annas on their team, you can probably stay back, maybe pick something like Hawkeye who's a sniper, pick something like Striker who's a kind of a long range, medium range assault type class, and kind of exploit that weakness that Anna has. So that's kind of something I don't really see often. Usually in Metro Conflict in the pubs that I've seen, people like to play the meta picks like Anna, who's pretty wickedly OP right now, or Striker, LT Gray, around that bunch. No one really kind of predicates their class choice based upon the enemy, and I think that can be a pretty powerful tool if you kind of see what your enemy's team's composition of classes is set up as and kind of pick your class against them to kind of give yourself the inherent advantage. Another tip would be throw nades high for quick detonation. You can't really cook nades in this game, but if you throw them high enough, they actually cook based on distance. So if a highly thrown nade at a shorter distance actually will basically detonate on impact, which is pretty awesome. And ultimately, if you time it and you kind of position it right, that's a free kill right there. So that's definitely something you should kind of learn and kind of grow accustomed to, the common nade spots, learning how to actually throw your nades in a way where they actually detonate as fast as possible so you don't give the enemy players time to react to your nades. And the last tip I have really for you guys is to like know about the challenges that they offer in Metro Conflict. So challenges are basically kind of like quests or objectives or kind of missions that you can do. So you have like missions like, okay, get top 3 and like 40 or so games in a team deathmatch game, and so on and so forth. So you have all these objectives and they each offer their own rewards like money, or you can get like weapons and skins and all that stuff. So definitely take advantage of those. That's free stuff for you, and you can kind of give yourself a goal to kind of work towards. But that's pretty much it for my tips and tricks video. If you have any questions or comments, or you have suggestions for other Metro Conflict videos, definitely leave them down below in the comments box. And thanks for watching as always, guys.